Hey guys, it's Sarah from Just My Typewriter, and I'm here today because I've had another eBay hunt and it's gotten really bad and I might have an addiction and well, here's what happened. So a few of you might remember when I did a doll toy unboxing of a typewriter from our generation. It was like an American Girl doll typewriter, and we played with that to figure out what that was like, but it kind of made me wonder what other toy typewriters are out there. Now I know there's a lot from the 1940s that are made of tin, and they exist, and I did find a Barbie typewriter that I've been desperately trying to get my hands on, but all of the versions of it are like $100, and I'm not willing to spend that much on a Barbie typewriter, no matter how much fun that would be. So like any good quest, all roads lead to eBay, and I've been looking at toy typewriters on there. I found a toy typewriter on eBay that I put on my watch list, and the seller immediately contacted me and offered me a lower price for this typewriter. So here is that typewriter. It is the Buddy L Easy Writer typewriter from 1976. They were made in Japan. They're fully plastic and they come with a case topper, kind of like a portable machine. And I got this guy, I think with shipping it was about $27. I got him really quickly, and that's where the story began with this toy typewriter. But you know, there is a saying, it's a very ancient Grecian saying, that why have one toy typewriter when you can have two toy typewriters? And that's where this guy comes into play. This is a 1962 Tom Thumb plastic toy typewriter. I was in an antique store, I saw one, it called to me, and now I have two toy typewriters. And today we're going to be playing with them, seeing which one I like better, and just kind of giving a review of both of these toy typewriters. So this is the Buddy L Easy Writer typewriter from 1976. The Buddy L Corporation made typewriters in Japan, and there are a lot of different variations. One of the most common ones I see right now are I believe they're the 300s, and they're bright blue. This one is a Buddy L Easy Writer 500 in gorgeous orange and yellow, very 1970s feeling. So it does have the carriage return bar, that works, and the carriage does move the entire way right and the entire way left, like a normal typewriter would. If you look at the internal mechanism, it is on a drawband, which is different than the Tom Thumb typewriter, and we'll talk about that later. But everything inside is really clean, really well maintained, and I was really surprised to get this typewriter and it be in such good condition, because the box is waterlogged and has some damage on it, but the typewriter itself has sustained no damage. It didn't come with ribbon spools. Now normally this wouldn't be an issue because most typewriters are pretty compatible when it comes to typewriter size for ribbons. However, this is a toy typewriter made in Japan, and the spools are kind of a big deal. So I went to look for spools on the internet, and they were all around the $10 mark, but I decided to MacGyver it and see if I could make something that would work. So the first thing I did was I tried a We Are Memory Keepers ribbon spool. They're made of plastic. I have a ton of them because I have a ton of the ribbons, and I rewrap all of my ribbons on the original spools. As you can see here, it was too big to fit into the typewriter. I tried hacking it with a wire cutter because, you know, I'm really safe and smart and should have been wearing safety goggles. And that unfortunately didn't work because the inner circle on that spool was too small to fit on the peg of the typewriter. So this led me to my next option, which was to take the internal ribbon spools from my Amazon replacement ribbons and see if I could modify those. Now what I found out is that the inner part of those ribbon spools actually pops out, so I don't have to worry about making sure the ribbon spool is small enough to fit in the inside of this little plastic post that's on the inside of the typewriter. I just have to make sure that the internal ring on that ribbon holder is wide enough for the peg. And I tried it and I thought it was going to work, so I took out the inner part of that spool, tried it again, and it did not fit on it. The internal peg was too large. However, I do happen to know that that inner circle is held by two like little plastic arm things, and I found out that if you cut those, you can make it wide enough to fit on your typewriter. So I cut the internal pegs on that plastic little ring, and I was able to fit them onto the typewriter pegs. I then wrapped a We Are Memory Keepers ribbon around the outside of it very carefully and just kind of crossed my fingers and prayed to the typewriter gods, aka mostly Tom Hanks, that it would fit into the ribbon spool and that it would continue to stay in a nice shape and not like unravel everywhere because it didn't have that top and bottom plastic partition on the spool. Once I figured that out, I was actually really super surprised with how well this typewriter works. I did look up the address that was on the inside cover of that typewriter where you can write to get ribbon replacements, and it's now a sports complex. I guess business wasn't so good for the Buddy L Easy Writer typewriter ribbon replacement business. Overall, I'm really impressed with this typewriter. It seems to be really well put together. It's in excellent condition considering it is from 1976, and everything on it is actually pretty functional. When we looked at the American Girl typewriter, our generation typewriter toy, I was really disappointed with how unrealistic the experience was to working with a real typewriter because the carriage didn't move all the way, there was no lever return, and all of the bars were connected. But this toy typewriter is way more accurate and actually writes something if you put a ribbon inside of it, which is why I was really surprised that it was in this great of condition and this useful and this cheap, considering that there's a lot of toy typewriters on eBay right now that are very pricey. So let's try talking about the Thumb Toy Typewriter. Try saying that 5 times fast. So after purchasing the Buddy L Easy Writer typewriter, again, all of these are really tongue twistery, I went to an antique store, which is always a bad idea, and I found this toy typewriter in the corner. It was bright blue and it called to me like pirate gold, and I was the Jack Sparrow of typewriters and I had to have it. It was about $12 and it came with the original box. Now the original box is like destroyed and has somebody's like initials and name all over it, but overall I was pretty impressed with how clean and how well kept this toy typewriter was. Now this typewriter is the 1406 model. I've seen a lot of Thumb Toy Typewriters from the 1930s and 40s, and they're all like that bright green metal die-cast typewriter that you see on eBay or people use as display pieces, and I wasn't interested in those kind of toy typewriters. I wanted the Barbie typewriter because it worked, and that's what attracted me to the Buddy L typewriter as well. So like the Buddy L typewriter, all of the keys are in capitals, and you use the shift to get to the numbers. That's to make it nice and easy and portable, and you can eliminate a lot of keys that way. It also has the ribbon with it, which was really helpful. I didn't have to manufacture my own spools, which was really difficult on the Buddy L typewriter, and they're already like bolted in place, so it was really easy to take those out, replace the ribbon, and put them back in. The nice thing about them being bolted in place is that when I dump it over, which I inevitably will do, they won't fall out of the typewriter and get ink everywhere. Now initially when I first saw this, it really reminded me of something else. I wonder what that was. Would you say, I don't know, the Our Generation toy typewriter we looked at? It is basically the same color, and I thought the design was pretty similar because on this typewriter, like we explored in the other video, the carriage doesn't move all the way across, and I thought that's what happened on this typewriter as well. As you can see, there is no carriage return, which is reminiscent of that Our Generation typewriter, and this little switch here at the top is what moves the carriage over, and I thought when I first got it, it didn't move the whole way. Turns out it was just stuck, and it does move the entire way across, back, left, and right to get an entire paper's worth of typing across. It is kind of difficult though, and you can't hit enter. You do have to roll up a line when you finish, and you just use the little knobs for that on the platen. Overall, I was pretty excited with how great of condition this typewriter was considering it's 1962, and I was impressed with how much it actually types. Now, I don't have any pen pals that are toy typewriter enthusiasts, but if I did, I now have 2 working machines that I can actually type on, and that's what's great about these 2 toy typewriters. Now I have 3 toy typewriters in my collection, 2 that actually work, and I'm really excited to have them. I think it's a really great example of a couple of things. First of all, children took really good care of their toys. This one's from 1962, this one over here is from 1976. Both typewriters were almost in pristine condition when I got them. They were both still working, and they both came in the boxes. And although the boxes were damaged, it was still obvious that there was a lot of care put into taking care of these items. I also think it's really great to show how active toys can be. So both of these typewriters actually produce something and write something. So a kid could go up and sit next to their parent who would be working on that toy typewriter and work alongside them on their own typewriter. They're active, and it would teach you how to spell, which is really awesome. Unfortunately, there's no spell check on these 2 machines, and I think that in this case could be a really great learning tool. Now, I would be a really bad typewriter mom or a really bad crazy person if I didn't name these 2 typewriters, so I think I'm going to go with Tom Hanks, the Thumb Typewriter, because obviously Tom Hanks is the godfather of all typewriters, and it's already got Tom in the name. And if I think about the things that I love most in the world that are related to Tom Hanks, I would have to say it's anything that has to do with Nora Ephron. So I'm gonna have to go over here with Billy Crystal, the Buddy L typewriter. And that'll round out my trilogy nicely. I've got an electric typewriter at home, already named Nora, so between the three of them, I could make my own movie. If you guys are interested in more typewriter content, be sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel. We've also got an Instagram and a Facebook. You guys can check those out at just.my.typewriter. I want to thank you so much for being here today with me on this weird side of the internet, and remind you that you're just my typewriter.